Do you read English every day but still struggle to speak confidently? It's not because you're bad at English. It's because you're reading the wrong way. In this video, I'll show you a simple 4-step method that turns any text into speaking, listening, and writing practice, all at the same time. Hello, and a very warm welcome back to English Focus Daily. I'm Roxy, and I am so happy to have you here with me today. In this episode, I will speak slowly. Learning English through reading is one of the smartest ways to improve your English, because you see vocabulary and grammar in a real context. If you practice reading correctly, you are actually improving 4 skills at the same time. One of the biggest advantages of reading is that, unlike conversation, you have full control over your reading speed. If the text is difficult, you can read slowly. If it is easy, you can read faster. In conversation, the other person may speak very fast and may not slow down, even if you ask them. You can read anywhere, on the metro, in the park, on your sofa at home, or even while waiting for your child's class. You can read a sentence or a paragraph several times until you completely understand it. Reading does not need a partner. The only thing you need is a book, a smartphone, or an e-reader. Reading can even be completely free through libraries or many online resources. Steve Kaufman, a famous polyglot who speaks many languages, believes that reading is a key skill that makes the rich richer. This means the more you read, the faster you learn, and this cycle multiplies your progress. He says there is no shortcut to learning English. The more words and structures you meet, the faster your brain becomes at processing them. Reading is the foundation of language learning, and it complements listening, speaking, and writing effectively. While reading, you can read aloud. In a way, this is like practicing speaking. Reading increases your active vocabulary, helps sentence structures stay in your mind, and creates ready-made sentences in your brain. As a result, you can build sentences more easily when speaking. While you practice reading, even if you do not move your lips, your speech muscles and your brain are silently producing the sounds. This is called subvocalization. In fact, you are practicing speaking without actually speaking. Since you hear your own voice in your head, you are also practicing listening. While reading, you can listen to the audiobook of the same content at the same time. In a way, this is like practicing listening. Reading helps your eyes get used to sentence structures, correct spelling, and word usage. It also helps your ears recognize words faster and more easily in conversation. While reading, you can see the types of sentence structures that are used. For deeper learning, you can write a summary of the text after reading it. In a way, this is practicing writing. Reading helps you learn correct grammar and word order so you can build more natural sentences. All grammar rules, punctuation marks, and spelling are right in front of your eyes. The best writers are often those who read a lot. Reading is the input, while speaking and writing are the output. Good input leads to strong output. Let's go step by step and keep it completely practical. How should I read a text? In fact, there are 2 types of reading study. 1. Intensive reading. This is when you focus on the language. You stop to learn new words and analyze structures. 2. Extensive reading. This is when you read without stopping and only for enjoyment, to enjoy the story or content. For beginner and intermediate learners, the best choice for intensive reading is standard English textbooks or graded short books. So today, I will focus on intensive reading. However, if you want to read a long novel or nonfiction book, you can do it slowly over a longer period of time. After 2 or 3 months, when you finish the whole book, go back and read it again. You will be surprised how much easier it feels and how well you understand it without stopping. Step 1. Skimming. Read quickly. First, read a text or a section of the book quickly to understand the general idea. Do not check the dictionary and do not worry about new words. In standard writing, the first sentence of each paragraph usually introduces the topic, and the last sentence gives the conclusion. If you are a beginner, start with text in standard textbooks. At the end of reading a text, ask yourself, what is the topic of the text? If the text is short, spend 3-5 minutes on this step. Step 2. Careful reading. Find the meaning of words. Now read the text for a second time, but this time more slowly. This time, when you see a new word, take a few seconds to guess its meaning from the context of the previous and next sentences. Underline important and repeated words. At the end of the text, check their meanings in a dictionary, online, or physical. Important and repeated words are those that repeat often, and without them, you cannot understand the paragraph. If you still understand the sentence without that word, do not check the dictionary yet. You can just put a small mark under it to check later. Remember, do not pause every second to check one single word. This is a big mistake because it reduces the joy of reading and slows down your brain. Steve says that checking the dictionary too often breaks the flow of understanding. The goal is for the meaning to enter your brain directly, not to translate everything. If you are reading a long text or a book, it is better to identify the new words in one paragraph, find their meanings, and then move to the next paragraph. For difficult languages, Steve uses sentence mode. This means focusing on one sentence, understanding it completely, and then moving to the next one. This prevents you from getting confused by too much text. So the second step is simple. Read carefully and underline the important new words. This step might just take a little more time. Step 3. Read aloud. Practice out loud. Now that you have a better understanding of the text, read it again out loud. If you can't, just read it softly to yourself. Steve Kaufman emphasizes that you should not read alone, especially if the text is difficult. When you listen to the audio while reading, you gain momentum. The speaker's voice, with the right stress and intonation, helps you understand complex sentences much more easily. Combining reading with listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning English. If you have the audio file, you can use the shadowing technique. Shadowing means reading the text out loud at the same time as the speaker. If this is still hard, you can try delayed shadowing or echoing. Imagine you are in the mountains. Your voice returns to you as an echo. Try to repeat the words with a short delay while following the text with your eyes. Still too difficult? Do not be discouraged. You can listen to one sentence or one chunk at a time, pause, and then repeat it by imitating the speaker's tone. Never forget that reading aloud is not useless. It builds muscle memory in your face and tongue. It teaches your muscles how to move for each word and sentence. As a result, it directly improves your pronunciation, your rhythm, and your fluency. Step 4. Short review. Now, to wrap up, close the book and try to say a summary out loud without looking at the text. Even if you can only say one sentence about the whole text, that is enough. If you are reading a book, try to retell the main story to yourself. I know you have many questions now. Here is a clear roadmap to answer them. 1. What should I read and how should I choose it? The most important rule is this: read something you are interested in. Read things that you are interested in real life. For example, if you like plants and gardening, read books about that topic. This helps your background knowledge support your language learning. Short stories and graded readers. For beginners, graded readers from starter to advanced levels are excellent choices. These books are rewritten for your level. If you want to read original novels, I suggest reading the English version of books you have already read in your native language. This is a very powerful method because you already know the story, so you can focus only on the language. Simple news and blogs. Simple articles from websites like BBC Learning English, News in Levels, or VOA Learning English can be good choices for daily or weekly reading. Topic-based articles. If you are interested in technology, psychology, cooking, or any other subject, read about those topics. When you read about something you already know, understanding becomes easier. 2. How difficult should the text be? Steve suggests balancing between challenging texts with many new words and easier texts that give you a feeling of fluency. This prevents you from feeling tired or frustrated. Choose texts where about 15% of the words are new. This way, you improve and still enjoy the process. If the text is too difficult, for example, a physics book for someone who doesn't know physics, learning stops. This ideal level creates something called a flow state. A flow state is when the text is not too hard to frustrate you and not too easy to make you bored. The 15% rule. The best way to learn is when about 15% of the words in a text are unknown to you. This means the text should not be so easy that you learn nothing, but also not so difficult. For example, more than 25% unknown words, that it stops your reading flow. The ideal level is a text where you already know about 80% to 90% of the words. In other words, the material should be just a little bit higher than your current level. This is often called input plus 1. 3. How can I know if a book is too difficult? The 5-finger rule is a very famous and quick way to choose the right book, article, or story. It is perfect for learners at A2, B1, or B2 levels. It helps you find a resource that matches your level. If there are more than 5 words on one page that you don't understand at all, the text is too hard for you. To use this rule, choose one page of the book and start reading. Open one finger every time you find a word you don't know, you can't guess, and it stops you from understanding the sentence. Do not open a finger for every unfamiliar word. This is a common mistake. Only count words that stop you from understanding the sentence and you cannot guess. So, if you have 0 1 fingers, the text is too easy. If you have 2 3 fingers, the level is perfect. If you have 4 fingers, it is difficult but manageable. If you have 5 or more fingers, the text is too hard. The best choice for active learning is 2 3 fingers. At this level, you still understand the text, but your brain is challenged. You can learn without feeling disappointed, and the new words stay in your memory because you learn them in context. 4. How can I remember new words? Reading is not enough if you don't remember the words or practice using them. To keep words in your memory, you can use a notebook or a mobile app. I suggest learning words as phrases or collocations. For example, instead of just writing decision, write make a decision. This helps you use the word correctly in a sentence. You can also use apps like Anki to create flashcards. These apps use a system called spaced repetition, SRS. Spaced repetition is a method to trick your brain into moving information from short-term memory to long-term memory. You review a word at specific times, today, tomorrow, in 2 days, in 4 days, etc., until you remember it forever. I will explain SRS in more detail in my next videos. How to study a new word. First, repeat the sentence from the text a few times or write it in your notebook. Then, use a dictionary to find its meaning and check its part of speech. For example, is it a verb, a noun, an adjective, or an adverb? If it is a verb, what are its past forms? If it is a noun, is it countable or uncountable? What is its plural form? After you understand the word and how to use it, it is time to create your own examples. For instance, beverage is a noun. So the meaning, a drink of any type. Your example. Hot beverages include tea, coffee, and hot chocolate. We sell both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. Recognize is a verb. The meaning, to know someone or something because you have seen them. Verb, recognize. Third person present, recognizes. Past tense, recognized. Past participle, recognized. Gerund or present participle, recognizing. Your example. He had completely changed. I didn't recognize him. I recognized my old high school teacher from the photograph. Curious is an adjective. It's the meaning, interested in learning about people or things around you. Your example. Babies are curious about everything around them. Why did you ask? I was just curious. Hugely is an adverb. The meaning, to a great degree. Your example. He gave her a hugely expensive diamond ring. Their business has been hugely successful. You should create your own example sentences every time you review a word. 5. How much should I read every day? How much time you spend on reading depends on your schedule. It is true that the more you read, the better, but quality is more important than quantity. Being consistent, reading every day, even just a few minutes, is the most important thing. If you have enough time, read for 20 to 30 minutes a day. You can choose a short text, 200 to 500 words, or read 3 to 5 pages of a graded reader. A great tip is to reread a book you finished last year. Reading it again this year will help fix the information in your memory. Consistency is key, and it is more important than the amount. Reading one page every day for a month has a significantly greater impact than reading 50 pages in a single day. If you found this lesson helpful and you want more tips like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to English Focus Daily. It really helps our channel grow so we can help more students like you. Please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching English Focus Daily. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, keep going, stay focused, and take one step at a time. Goodbye for now.